They've won 9 in a row now. They're 15 games over 500. The Braves did win last night, so they said 3 games out of the NL East, 2 games behind the Cubs for the top wild card spot. And this team's rolling right now. And they get on a plane and they go out west to Seattle, and they'll play the Angels after that. And they have an opportunity against 2 poor teams here this week to keep things going. And Anthony, I got to tell you, I was absolutely blown away by what we saw this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the different ways that they won baseball games, all the different ways it went down. Very impressive, and certainly yesterday, improbable, crazy stuff right now.
Yesterday was what was really unfathomable about yesterday was that for 8 innings, it looked like they had no interest in being on that baseball field. And then all of a sudden in the 9th inning, it was, all right, let's go win this damn thing. Yep. And that's what they did. And it's funny because, like, I asked Schwarber after the game, he didn't give a great answer, but I asked him after the game, I said, at what point are you sitting there in the 9th inning going, all right, we can do this? And he's like, well, you're never thinking you've lost. But, you know, it really probably doesn't set in until Sosa's coming up to bat. Right. He said, at that point, I turned to Trey and said, watch him hit a grand slam here. You know, like that was kind of like, you know, it was kind of like that was the moment where, you know, they felt like, okay, maybe we can do this.
Yeah.
And it's going to get lost in the moment, but, you know, obviously Harper's double to start the whole thing, 2-strike double. That's a big hit. Real Muto's 2-strike single. That's a big hit. And Justin Crawford's walk. Now, to be fair, Riley O'Brien was all over the place in that at bat. So wasn't that, it's not like he was a hard fought walk, but those 3 plate appearances are going to get lost in the shuffle because, you know, Sosa gets the double, De La Cruz gets the hit also with 2 strikes, and then Schwarber hits the home run. But those 3 at bats mattered more, you know, almost as much, if not more, than everybody else.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I have a note here, and I think, to me, obviously De La Cruz and Schwarber and Sosa at the end there, that's what you'll always remember. But to me, like, the momentum starts to build at that point. You could almost kind of feel it, like it was possible. But where you didn't really feel it, and you were still like, this game's over, is JT Realmuto in the box, down 1-2, fouling off a pitch, taking a pitch out of the strike zone, and then lacing the single up the middle. I mean, to me, that was the key at bat of the entire thing. It's not a good matchup. He hasn't been swinging the bat all that well. He's buried in the count. They don't have any momentum, and he bears down and does it. And those little things are obviously what allow, for the moments later in the inning to occur. It was really impressive. I said to you, and I think we all felt it, it looked like they already had a foot on the plane going to Seattle, and I couldn't really blame them. You know, they've won 8 straight games. They've taken care of business in this series. They just didn't really – they were missing 2 starters with Bowman and Arias, who have been 2 of their hotter hitters out of the lineup. Like, things happen, you know, but for them to come back and respond the way that they did, I mean, that was a special moment. You start to collect moments like that, and that's what kind of twists the feeling from, yeah, I know – it's the Phillies, though, to, hey, maybe there is something here. Maybe there's some reason to believe in this. And you talk about words like improbable in describing what happened. I mean, it's crazy. Like, and I'm sure that a lot of this was said on the radio or on the broadcast and post-game shows, but you go back. When was the last time the Phillies erased a 4-run deficit in the 9th inning to win a baseball game? You had to go back to 2019, the Harper Grand Slam game, right? It's like nuts. I mean, I have a whole list of things here that kind of put into context how improbable that win was yesterday. Like, since 1894, the Phillies were 1,182 when entering their half of the 9th inning down by exactly 4 runs. This season, teams entering the 9th down by exactly 4 runs are 4-202. I mean, you don't win that game. You're not supposed to win that game. You're never supposed to win that game. And yesterday they did it, and it was awesome. And I don't know if you saw the stat, but they have 5 wins this season now, trailing down to their last strike. That's crazy. The White Sox actually have the most wins this season, trailing with 2 outs, down to their final out. But the Phillies have done it 5 times down to their last strike. It's crazy.
I feel like I was in every one of those because, like, most of them were in Washington.
Yeah, so there were June 23rd and 24 back-to-back games in Washington. Obviously, yesterday there was one, I believe, April 30th in San Francisco, and there was one other one mixed in there somewhere.
Yeah, that was the doubleheader. That was the doubleheader.
Yeah,
right. The Chase Sugar won both ends of the doubleheader.
So I mean, it's been crazy, and it's funny, we talked about it. How many games have they stolen this year? It doesn't feel like all that many. Well, recently it feels like they're starting to steal a bunch.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get to this question because I think it's a good question. Derek Allen asks, do we hyper focus on the Phillies when evaluating this team? We say they're not good enough, but I guarantee the Braves podcast are saying the Phillies are a dangerous team that they don't want to face.
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. I mean, that's something I've said many times throughout the history of this show. We watch the Phillies every day, and you see where their flaws are. You see the holes. But most fans, not everybody, but most fans don't zoom out and watch the entire sport. Like the NFL, you sit down on a Sunday and you're watching everybody. You've got bets on games, parlays, fantasy football, all these different games isolated. What's that? Yeah, red zone. I mean, so there's so many different ways and reasons to consume the entirety of the league that even as like an Eagles fan, I think it's almost like the complete opposite, where you're like, this team might not be that good, but Dallas sucks. They gave up 28 points to that offense. Like, you're always able to rationalize in football, like how your team can somehow stack up. Whereas with baseball, I think it's the exact opposite because, the average fan that's really into the Phillies just does not have the capacity to consume the entire league. And so I think you absolutely do that. And that's one thing that I think is worth pointing out here. I don't believe in this team. I don't. Like, if you expect me to kind of like do the 180 today and tell you how I think they're going to win the National League East and win the pennant all of a sudden, like, I'm not there. Like, I just don't believe in this bullpen. I truly don't. And I think it's going to kill them. But am I perhaps overly pessimistic about this team's prospects in this moment? Like, maybe. And I don't even, like, I think it's fun. I think it's awesome. This team looks great at the moment. Like, everyone should be excited. I'm not coming in trying to say don't be excited. But, like, I personally, like, the last 9 games have been awesome. I'm just not all of a sudden going to flip my entire outlook about what's possible in October.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Bob. And the reason I'm with you is, as great as they're playing right now, we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that they're playing mediocre baseball teams, right? I mean, and look, it's not easy to win.
That's a product of this entire sport right now, save for 4 or 5 teams.
Yeah, and look, Phillies right now have the 7th best record in baseball. So they are one of the better teams. They're one of the top teams in the sport. And so they're going to play a lot of games against teams that we consider mediocre. And I put this out there with the caveat that it's not easy to win 9 games in a row in baseball at any point, because even the worst teams win 60 games a year, right? Like, I mean, they're gonna beat good teams from time to time. That's just how baseball works. But I think that this offense is feasting on mediocre pitching.
Yeah,
and in the playoffs, they're going to be getting top of the league type pitchers that they're going to be facing. Can they do the same thing at that time?
Well,
and I think that's what you have to wonder.
I think what's interesting, and it is certainly what you have to wonder, they have not faced elite level pitching for the most part in this stretch. But what you're going to have to do in October, because you presumably have elite level starting pitching, though we will talk about that in a little bit as well, it's, can you move a runner? Can you get the runner home from third with 1 out? Can you string together 3 singles? Like, teams that slug win in the playoffs. Despite what we all believe here, you need to have some slug in order to make a prolonged run in October. I mean, the numbers just bear that out. Like, you need to be a top 10 team typically, historically speaking, in recent history over the last 2 decades, to be a World Series winner. But what we've seen here in recent seasons with this particular team is its inability to cash with runners in scoring position, to move runners, to play well situationally. And what you're hoping that you see here, and I know you wrote a story about it, how all of a sudden the Phillies are kind of like a death by 1,000 cuts offense. I said to you yesterday, it's insane to me that this entire team's like turned into Tony Gwynn simultaneously. But like, that's kind of almost what does give you some hope, right? Like, well, maybe they can just do enough in terms of volume of getting guys on base that this is a different formula, a different path forward from an offensive perspective. But whether or not they can do that, obviously it remains to be seen.